Wait a minute. The next review is supposed to be about 1962's King Kong vs. Godzilla. You got it wrong. No, the same year as the first film, the second film came out. Son of Kong.
You serious?
1933 truly was the year of Kong, my friends. Majority of people are of course aware of the original classic, and if you're not, then stop looking at this video, go outside, check yourself into a rehab center because you have a serious problem that needs to be cured up right now. Where was I? Oh yeah, King Kong. The same year, 1933, saw the release of the sequel, Son of Kong, which not a lot of people are even aware of. I myself didn't discover the film until about 2009, where I stumbled across this video on YouTube of the titular son fighting with what appeared to be a giant bear. At the time I thought it was merely a fan-made video, but down the line I uncovered the truth. Now why aren't I talking about this film? Two reasons. One, to this day I haven't seen the film. As a huge King Kong fan, you'd think I'd own every Ultimate Edition Blu-ray of each individual film, but I don't. The main reason for this is, well, where I live. Now, I live in Ireland. Now, I'm very proud of my heritage to a great extent, but suffice to say, the state of commercial DVD and Blu-ray releases here is absolutely dreadful. DVDs rarely have many bonus features over here, and heck, even a decent case. Like no slipcovers for the majority of the time. The best you get is an overpriced steelbook. As of now, only 4 King Kong films have had a standard release on Blu-ray. I recently purchased the Toho duology, and they're basically no different from the DVDs I owned years ago. The 1933 version has only recently had a decent release on Blu-ray that I've just after getting actually. Before all that was available was the DVD for the 1933 version that had merely a trailer on it.
For the 2005 version.
The only decent version was, speaking of which, the 2005 release, which has had its extended Blu-ray and DVD put out with a plethora of behind the scenes footage, and it's a very, very, very decent buy. Son of Kong has never been released here, on any format. The best I can find is a Region 1 Blu-ray, thank God for multi-regional Blu-ray players.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Second reason is that it wasn't technically the second Kong film released. That honour goes to Wasai Kingu Kongu, directed by Tojaro Sato, and was released 2 months before Son of Kong. This short silent film tells the tale of 2 jobless vagabonds, Santa and Koshi. Santa desperately desires to wed his beloved girlfriend, but Daddy Dearest won't appreciate the peasant and simply won't have it. In order to win the heart of not only his fiancée, but not hopefully soon to be father-in-law, he needs to find a way of making money, and fast, because she's got a new boyfriend and the wedding bells are on the horizon. Stuck for inspiration, he decides to pass the time and go see a film in the nearby theatre. That film happens to be none other than the recently released King Kong. Upon viewing the classic film, a little light bulb appears over his head. He decides to make a theatrical parody of the film in the format of a play. The show turns out to be a gigantic success and rakes in the dough big time. However, in the midst of a performance, Santa, who plays Kong in the play, happens to spot his ex-fiancée with her new, soon-to-be husband. Infuriated, he jumps off the stage mid-performance and runs after him. From there he goes on a classic Kong-style rampage through the city. At the conclusion of the short film, Santa manages to knock out his counterpart and ends up marrying his beloved.
What the hell was that?
So yeah, not exactly what one was expecting. Then again, it would be tough to remake a film in its entirety that is less than a year old, with a rather minuscule budget. In hindsight, this may have been one of, if not the first parody of a popular film, judging by the photographs. Kong's suit was rather impressive for the time.
Despite the fact that his face is rather nightmarish, and
It's clear that a lot of effort went into what was at the time such a minuscule thing in society. It was a short film and went on to become a great success at the box office domestically. It never saw a global release, probably due to the fact that the film was made unbeknownst to RKO. It would be interesting to uncover this lost film. Would it be good? Likely not an extraordinary, but one thing's for sure, it's likely better than epic movie.
In Narnia.
Say what's up to the honeys.
Yay!
A mere 5 years later, Japan took another shot at Kong, with 1938's King Kong appears in Edo. That's what I'm going by because I'm not even going to try and pronounce the Japanese title. Directed by Soya Jumanji, apologies. The film was released in 2 parts. Yes, the cash cow of milking a film into 2 parts, kids, existed long before Harry Potter. This film is a bit more interesting due to the fact that it's debated to this day whether or not it's even a King Kong film to begin with. According to multiple sources, Kong was only referred to by name, and it's debatable whether or not Kong is even a giant in this film. It is likely, however, due to an interview with the creator of the suit, an actor of Kong in said film, who said, and I quote, "The first model to be counted as special art direction in Japanese art direction was a giant gorilla I did for a movie called King Kong Appears in Edo." The plot is much more complicated than the likes of Wasai Kingu Kongu. In short, it's Taken but with King Kong. Sweet Jesus, that needs to be the next Kong solo film. Liam Neeson needs to pilot a giant mech suit and fight King Kong. Heck, screw the mech suit, he could probably take him on with his bare hands. Anyway, back to the film. It follows a similar story about a crook who kidnaps a rich man's daughter with Kong doing his bidding. In the end, the crook escapes with the money and Kong is fatally wounded in a firing squad.
What the hell was that?
The film company that produced it, Senso, was at the time called a Poverty Row studio, producing trash, essentially kind of like Sony today. Despite Kong looking ridiculous, it was the first Japanese giant monster movie to appear in a film, so it is fascinating to look back at where a large part of pop culture originated from. Unfortunately, both of these films are lost due to the dropping of the atomic bomb, the big one, on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where the films were happened to be stored. Perhaps somewhere, someone has indeed found these lost films, and is waiting for the right time to bring them into the limelight. Any day would be great, lad, thanks. Ironic, isn't it? Man proves to be the Achilles heel of Kong, both in fact and fiction.